Students, today we are going to start new chapter demand. So, at first you have to know what is desire. Desire means it's a mere wish or dream that you may get something. So, you have to buy one car. So, that is favorite to you. So, you are just wishing that the car may be mine, or you are just dreaming. So, that is only, but you don't have money, so that is known as what? Desire. So it's just mere wish. So then what is want? Want is the purchasing power, that is purchasing power that we have, and we will be satisfying our want. That is if we have purchasing power, then we will be buying that commodity, but we are not buying that commodity, we are just thinking of buying that. So that is our want, that we will be buying that. So it is only the purchasing power, we have the capacity of buying. So next is demand. Demand is willingness to use resources, that we are giving the money and buying the commodity. So that is known as demand. So we are in need of that commodity and we are buying that commodity with the help of money. So that is known as demand. So you can just think that if a person is sitting and he is thinking that he is a poor person, and he is thinking of this, he will be going for some tour and all, and he is thinking that his desire, it is his desire, that his desire may be fulfilled. So that is his desire, but he don't have any money to fulfill his needs. Hope you understand the term desire. So next you will be knowing how, that is what do you mean by this. So want is always the willingness or the ability of a person to buy something. So he will be having certain wants. So if he have the money to satisfy his wants, he will be spending for that. Then his demand for that commodity may be fulfilled. So he have to make both, that is want to be ready by fulfilling his ability to buy that commodity. So by giving cash only, he can buy that commodity. So that is known as what? Demand. Hope you understood. So we can say that demand is created by desire, money, that want, means of purchase, and willingness to use those means. The concept demand refers to the quantity of goods or services that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a given period of time. So it's just a concept of the willingness or the ability of the person to buy a commodity at the given period of time according to the price. So it is classified into two: individual demand and market demand. So individual demand means just a single person will be having some demand. Only one person's demand is calculated under individual demand. So according to the price, he will be demanding the commodity. So demand of an individual consumer is individual demand. So market demand means what? The whole, that is two or three consumers are coming together to buy a commodity in the market. So that's market demand. So here we will be calculating the demand by all consumers in market. So that is market demand. So some factors are affecting the individual demand. So something, it may be also affecting the market demand. Or factors affecting individual demand and market demand may be same. So it's just written it as what, both classification differently. So you can see that price of the commodity. So it depends upon the price of the commodity the consumer is willing to buy a commodity. That is when he is seeing that price rises, he will be demanding less. So demand falls. If price falls, what happens? Demand rises. So that is, if you can see that 50% discount in some commodity, so you will be buying that commodity. So it's a what falling price leads to rise in demand. So ceteris paribus means, other things being equal, the demand for a commodity inversely related to its price. It implies that a rise in price of a commodity brings about a fall in its purchase and vice versa. So here you can see this is the law of demand states. So what is law of demand? As price increases, demand decreases, and as price falls, demand rises. So that is, it is having inverse relationship, price and the commodity demanded having inverse relationship. So this is one of the factor that is affecting price, that is price affecting that demand is price. So here related commodity is another factor that is affecting demand. So their relative commodities means there are two commodities, complementary goods and the substitute goods. So complementary goods and substitute goods. So what is that complementary goods? Complementary goods means one with the other. So for example, complementary goods are those goods which are consumed together or simultaneously. So we can say that pen and ink. So if we will be buying one pen, automatically we will be buying the refiller. So we can see that if we are buying the ink pen, we will be buying the ink. So if we are buying the car, we will be buying the petrol. So it's automatically related to each other. So these are complementary goods. So we can see that another example, tea and sugar. So if we are consuming the tea, we will be consuming the sugar also. So that is related to each other. So automatically we will be buying the other commodity. You know what is complementary goods. So next is substitute goods. So substitute good means instead of one thing we are consuming the other. So if a Coke's price is increasing, we will be buying Pepsi. If Pepsi's price is increasing, we will be buying Coke. So that is substitute good. Instead of one thing, the other is consumed. So here complementary. So what is that? There are two commodities, related goods, which are substitute goods and complementary goods. So substitute goods is also known as competing goods, or substitute are those goods which can be used with the ease in place of other another commodity. So instead of one good, we can use the other good. So if we are tea's price is rising, so we will maybe using coffee. So if coffee's price is rising, we may be using tea. So it's a substitute goods. Instead of one thing, we will be consuming the other. For example, if a Coca-Cola, as I told you earlier, Coca-Cola's price is increasing, we will be buying Pepsi. So if Pepsi's price is increasing, we will be buying Coca-Cola. So these are the substitute goods. So if we can say that if ball pen is having high cost, we will be buying ink pen. So if big ink pen is having high cost, we will be buying ball pen. So it's a, what is that? It's a substitute. Instead of one thing, we will be buying the other thing. So it's a substitute goods. Next is level of income of the household. So that is another factor that is affecting demand. So if income increases, we will be buying more of the commodity. If income decreases, we will be buying less commodity. So it's according to the income of a consumer, the demand of the commodity depends. So the larger income of the household, the large is the demand of the quantity, and less the less the income of the household, the less will be the demand. Next is taste and preference of the consumer. So next is, if he is buying his first taste will be, he will must maybe have a scooter, then he will be buying bike, then he will be consuming the other product. So it's according to the fashion and all, he will be buying new things. So it's a taste and preference of the consumer. So at first you will be having ordinary small TV, another time that you will be having big TV, flat screen and all. So that is according to the what new new coming, so you will be preferring the other. So it's a taste and preference. So good. So you can see, just to see so just to see, you can just see how it's having the relation. So you as generation passes, the trends may be also passing. So the goods which are more in fashion command higher demand than goods which are out of fashion. So it's will be out of fashion goods will be thrown out and new fashion goods will be implemented. So that is taste and preference of the consumer. Next is size of population. Size of population: as population increases, the demand increases. As population decreases, the demand decreases. So small size of population, small demand, and high size of population is high demand. Next is law of demand. So as I told you earlier, there is only other things remaining the same. So other factors affecting demand you had studied: taste and preference, income of the consumer, etc., etc. So these things will be same or constant. Only price depends upon that. So that is the ceteris ceteris paribus, that is, other things being equal, the demand of for a commodity is inversely related to its price. So it implies that rise in price of a commodity brings about a fall in the purchase and vice versa. So price rises, demand falls, and price falls, demand rises. So you know that it is always depending upon price. In law of demand means only price is depending. Other factors we are not seeing, it is just a constant. So that is known as what? Law of demand. So hope you understood the concept law of demand. Next is demand schedule of a consumer. So that is, you will be knowing there are two consumers: individual consumer and market demand. Individual demand and market demand. Market demand means 2-3 consumers together demanding. So that is known as market demand. So it's a what is schedule? It's a tabular presentation showing relationship between price and quantity demanded of an individual consumer. So if you see that point A, B, C, D, etc., you can say as consumers each and every time consuming. So consumers demand according to that. So at point of time, so point A, it was 5 rupees and he is demanding 10 quantity. So at price decreases to 4, at the second point of time B, he is consuming 15. So 15 quantities. So next again you can see that at a C he is consuming, C point of time he is consuming 20 at price 3, and D price is 2, he is consuming more 35, and at E point he is consuming the 60 unit when the price is only 1 rupee. So that is the condition, that is individual demand according to the price changing. So if price increases, demand decreases. So if a price decreases, demand increases. So that is the method that we are going to study here. Assumptions, all other things being same. So here point, how can you draw the curve? You can just see how can you draw the curve with the schedule. So curve is drawn, x-axis and y-axis are there. Y-axis here, x-axis here, and you can see that the quantity demanded is always in the x-axis. So price is in the y-axis. So on the basis of that, you will be marking the point. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know the quantity demanded at 10. 10, what is the price? Price is 5. Then at 4 rupees 4, how many quantity demanded? 20. And you can see that as this is the difference. You can see 10 means decreasing, here 20 means increasing, and here you can see 35 means again increasing. At 2 rupees he is consuming, you can see he is consuming how much unit? 35 units. So he is consuming 35 units, and at 1 rupee he will be consuming 60. Quantity demanded is 60. So it's increasing, you can see that. So you can draw the curve here like this and mark DD and AB, CDE is the curve. Downward sloping indicating the inverse relationship between price and quantity of demand. You know how the quantity of demand is inversely related to price. So you understood the demand law of, that is individual demand curve and schedule. So next we will be going to market demand schedule and curve. So how can you draw a market demand? So that you are going to see here. So when we add up the various quantities demanded by a consumer, so that is known as what? Market demand. So when we add up the various quantities demanded by the number of consumers in the market, we can obtain the market demand schedule. And we can just see the quantity demanded 10 units at rupees 200 and is of one consumer, and you can see that 8 units at rupees 200 is of demand of another consumer. So like that you can add these different charts and you can see the quantity demanded. So the quantity demanded of 18 units is equal to 18 units. The quantity demanded is equal to at 200 rupees. So you can see that the quantity demanded is 18. So that is market demand. So here you can see the market demand. You can see price 201, that is 5. 5. The two consumers are buying buying it a different quantity. So you can see that different demands are there. 10 units and demand by A is 10 units and demand by B is 5 units. And the market demand schedule, you can see total market demand is 15 here. So 10 plus 5 is 15. So here at 4 rupees again demand increases, you know, as price decreases demand increases. So here price is at 4, the consumer buys 15 units, here 10 units and 25, here 3 and 20 units and 15 units 35. Adding both you can get DA plus DB is this total demand. 60 you get here to 35 plus 25, and 60 plus 35 you will be getting 95. So that is the demand schedule, market demand schedule. So this is different market demand curves. So here this green line is showing the total demand DM. So it's a market demand curve DM. So it's individual demands of DA and DB separately, and you can say that this is total of these two. It will be higher from this, and it is the DM line. So as you know that market quantity demanded is in x-axis and price demanded is in price is at axis y. So this is the market demand schedule. Just draw with the schedule in your notebook. I will be giving you the notes as per that basis you can do it. Next question is, why does demand curve slopes downwards? So there may be some reasons of a demand curve is sloping downwards. So that we are going to discuss now. So how is demand curve is sloping downwards, that we are going to see. So it's on the basis of rationale of a law of demand. So on the basis of demand, law of demand, you know that price increases, demand decreases, and price decreases, demand increases. That is the chart why it is happening. So what is the rationale of law of demand means, and under that there are several classifications. So first one is law of diminishing marginal utility. So you know that as a consumer is consuming one by one of each product, he will be having at last a lesser satisfaction. So for example, we can say that if a person is drinking a glass of water, he is consuming, he will be thirsty when he drinks first glass of water, and he will be little more less thirstier when he is drinking second glass of water. And as simultaneously glasses increases, his satisfaction increases, and he consumes less the quantity that he had consumed first when he was thirsty. So law of diminishing marginal utility means the satisfaction goes on diminishing as he consumes an additional increase of the particular commodity. So that's why it is saying that demand curve is going on downward sloping. As we consume more units, our satisfaction reduces. So if our satisfaction reduces, then we will pay lesser amount of or higher quantity. So that is the our satisfaction. So we will be not consuming more of the commodity. So initially when the level of satisfaction is higher, then can pay higher money. So here you can see that at first he is eating, then at last he is vomiting. So later, as we consume more, demand increases, our marginal satisfaction reduces, and we are not ready to pay higher money, and price reduces. So that is the condition. So when we consume more and more unit, our satisfaction decreases and decreases, and that is consuming more means more demand increases at a level, and when the satisfaction decreases, we will be consuming less, and we are not ready to pay higher money, that is price reduces. So higher the demand decreases, price automatically reduces for the commodity. So next is substitution effect. So first effect was law of diminishing marginal utility, why the demand curve is sloping downwards. Next is substitution effect, means one commodity, instead of one commodity we will be buying the other commodity. So what is the reason? If the price of one commodity increases, we will be buying the other substitute goods. So that is Pepsi's price is increasing, so we will be buying the same taste, same quality of the other commodity, that is Coca-Cola. And this is an example. If it was 30 rupees and that was also 30 rupees, if when Pepsi's price is decreasing 25 rupees, the consumers who were purchasing Coca-Cola will always shift to this, that is they will be buying which one, that is this 25 rupee of Pepsi. So here we can see that Coca-Cola's price is still increasing, so that so they will not buy that. So that is the condition there, and as price falls, the goods become comparatively cheaper, and therefore more people buy the good, and hence demand increases. So when price falls, the goods become comparatively cheaper. So therefore more people will buy the goods of lesser price, and the demand for the lesser price commodity increases. This may also be one of the reason for the slope of the demand curve downward. So next is income effect. Income effect means what? As the commodity that the consumer is willing to buy may be differing according to his income. So for example, pocket money he has is rupees 100, and at first the chocolate was of rupees 10, and he may be purchasing the 110 chocolates of a 100 rupees. So if it is decreasing of 8, the rate is decreasing of rupees 8, then he can buy additional of the preferred commodity. 2 units he can buy additional. As it is having only what 8 rupees, he can buy additional of 2 quantity. So that is then the real income increases. So what the money that he was having as pocket money may be left over, and he can either buy more of the commodity. So as the price decreases of the commodity, or he can buy other commodity also. So if he is left of the money, so when the so then we can say that the real income increases as she real income means what he is having with him now. So what so as it is left with rupees 20 after buying 10 chocolates, and will and with which she can buy 2 more additional quantities additional quantities of the chocolate. As price falls, the real income or the purchasing power of the consumer increases, and hence the demand rises. So the purchasing power, price falls. When the price falls, the purchasing power or the money with him is increasing. So or left off. So consumers money purchasing power is increasing, and hence the demand rises. So demand for the particular commodity may rise. So he may consume either 2 more unit than he had consumed earlier. That is 10 units he was consuming earlier, he will be getting it for 80 rupees, and he will be consuming 2 more units as he is left of 20 rupees. Next is arrival of new consumers. So it is just an arrival of new consumers means as when his income increases, he will be having a new demand for some other commodities. So if his income increases, and if he will be buying a particular brand of commodity, so he will be changing for an alternative or a higher standard commodity. So for example, here is dairy milk. So sometimes she may be having dairy purchasing power, or she has only 65 rupees with her for buying that chocolate, and she will be just thinking of buying that chocolate as when the price is of 65, she may not be buying the commodity. So when the prices of a commodity falls to 65, she will be affordable to buy the commodity, and she will be buying that. So when the price of a commodity falls, more consumers start to buying it before, because some of those who could not buy afford to buy this previously may also now afford to buy that commodity. So as previously she was not able to buy the commodity as it was rupees 70, so it was higher. So when the prices decreases of the commodity, the consumer may buy the consumer may also buy the commodity. For example, if you may be having some the touch phones and all at higher rates previously, and when suddenly when some offers comes, its price decreases, and you will be buying that phones and all. So that is the example of this. Next is different uses. So for example, if you are having milk with you, quantity of milk is production is increasing, and you will be buying using that commodity for production of different things. That is, you may be producing curd, you may be producing paneer, you may be producing this halwa for making halwas and all, and they are different uses of different uses. So certain commodities have multiple uses, and if their prices falls, they will be used for variety purposes, and demand for such commodities may increase. So here one example is given of electricity. So how electricity is having its importance, we are using it in washing machine and air conditioners. So we can use electricity for different purposes. So multiple uses are there. So as price falls, we will be using it for higher and higher purposes. So that is another reason for what the slope of this demand curve downwards. Movement in demand curve: when the quantity demanded of a commodity changes due to the rise or fall in prices of that commodity, it is known as movement or in demand curve. So it may be upward movement or downward movement in demand curve. So upward movement, you can see when the prices of a commodity increases, the curve moves upward, and when the prices of the commodity decreases, the curve moves downwards. So how it moves? According to the demand. So when the prices of a commodity increases, the demand for the commodity decreases. So as a result, it moves, the shift of the demand curve will be upward, and when the prices of the commodity decreases, the curve will be shifting downwards. So the you can see the curve, y axis shows a price and x axis shows the quantity demanded. So you can see the price at P level, the price is the quantity demanded is Q and price is P. So when the price increases to P1, that is the quantity demanded is Q1, it is decreasing to Q1. So it's having a shift to A, is having a shift to C. So the curve is having contraction. So the curve is what it is becoming shorter upwards. So it's a contraction, and downwards you can see the expansion. So it's happening when the price is decreasing, the quantity demanded increases, and so the quantity demanded increasing, so it's showing an expansion in demand. So next is shifts in demand curve. So change in demand curve due to non price determinants, either that is price of related commodities, income of consumer, change in taste and preference of the consumer, etc. So these are some of the factors determining the demand. So here price always remains constant. So on the basis of the taste and preference and other factors affecting demand, it will be shifting. So you know that certain factors are affecting demand. So instead of prices price will be constant, and other factors like income, shift in demand, taste and preference, it shifts in demand curve either leftward or right. So it's on the basis of the other factors. It may be the complementary goods or some other substitute goods, or taste and preference or income of the consumer. So like that the shift may happen. So if price, you can see that it can be represented with the diagram. It is shown that the price is represented in the y-axis and demand is represented in the x-axis. So you can see a shift in demand to D to D1. So it's a what is it's a rightward shift. So how it is shifting? When the quantity demanded is increasing, so price remains always constant. So it's only a straight line, it doesn't changes in the shifts in demand. So it's increasing due to the taste and preference of the commodity. And you can see that the curve is sloping down, the curve is shifting downwards to D2, from D to D2. So it may be due to some factors other than the price, the quantity demanded decreases. So it's a shifting to D2. So it's a leftward shift. So like that you can see the shifts in the demand curve, and you can represent it using the same graph, and I will be giving you the notes related to this. So you can just understand that the price is always constant in this graph, and only the quantity demanded shifts upward or down, that is not upward, it's leftward shift or rightward shift. Next is movement in and the shifts differences are there. So what is here written as first point: change in quantity demanded of the commodity results from the change in its prices. So here prices, according to the prices, the movement is fixed, and here change in demand for the commodity results from the change in factors other than prices. So here shifts is decided on the factors other than the prices. So here only the price is determining the station movement in movement of demand curve. So here next point is change is along the curve. So it's only change, you can see that change is along the curve, and here is change is in the position of the curve. So it's a shifting. So next is expansion or contraction in demand curve is shown here, and here increase or decrease in demand shows a shift in this increase in demand shows a shift in rightward movement, and decrease in demand shows a shift in leftward movement. So that is increase or decrease in demand. So that is results what we can see in this movement and shift of difference. So here next is change in quantity demanded. So here the first movement is, you can see change in quantity demand, and here is change in demand. So here we can see change in quantity, how much quantity it is changing by movement in demand curve. We can see how much quantity it is changing, and in shifting demand curve change in quantity, that is it is increasing or it is decreasing, it is only determined here. It's a in movement we can say that it's a the fixation of how much the quantity changes, and here only shifts shows the increase or decrease in demand. Elasticity of demand, it's a sensitive of change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to a change in its a price. So that is known as this elasticity of demand. Whenever price changes, quantity demanded changes. The concept of elasticity of demand attempts to assign a numerical value so to the sensitiveness. So and identify 5 types of elasticity of demand. For the time being, you need not bother about mechanism by what the numerical value is arrived at. So you have to, you just follow the discussions alone and understand what are the types of elasticities. So next is, what are the types of elasticity? If elasticity value is equal to infinity, it's a the demand is perfectly elastic. We have perfectly elastic demand. You can there is a perfectly inelastic demand. So that is when the elasticity value is equal to 0. So these are the two extreme cases of elasticity of demand. So in between you can see relative elasticity of demand, that is it's a greater than 1. So elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Next is unitary elastic demand. So ED, elasticity of demand, is equal to 1, identified as elasticity of demand value is equal to 1. When the value of elasticity is less than 1, the demand becomes relatively inelastic. So it's this is popularly known as relative inelastic demand. So thus we have 5 types of elasticity of demand. So next we shall try to define the concept, the different kinds of elasticities. So in doing so, I will compare percentage changes in quantity demanded with percentage change in price again for the time being. You need not bother about the calculation of percentage change. It will be discussed under methods of measuring elasticity of demand. So you just try to understand the definition. Perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly elastic demand in infinite falls in causes the quantity demanded to increase infinitely. So look at the demand curve. So in you can see that the demand curve is flat and horizontal and parallel to x-axis. So it means the fall in prices is insignificant, but in numerical quantity of demand goods is increasing. So we define perfectly elastic demand. So as a situation in which infinite quantity is demanded at the existing prices. Next is relative elastic demand. It's otherwise called as just elastic demand also. So you can just see quantity demanded, and here you can the demand curve is relatively steeper, and the price falls from P2 to P1. So quantity demanded expands from M1 to M2. Increase in quantity demanded is greater. So you can see that the fall as the fall in prices. So in definitely elastic of demand, we never take into account absolute change in the quantity and prices. Instead we use only percentage change. So here you can see M1 to M2 a vast difference is there. So that is known as what elastic demand. So percentage change in quantity demanded is higher than the percentage change in price. So here price is only a little changing, that is slight changing. Here 20% alone is changing, but here you can see 80% is changing. So here you can see vast gap. Here quantity demand, so it's elastic demand compared to price. Here so you can here only 20% you can see change, but here you can see increase in quantity demand. So next is unitary elastic demand. So it refers to a percentage change in price brings out exactly an equal percentage change in quantity demanded. So the curve is ordinary demand curve. You can see the shape is curve is rectangular hyperbola. It's a rectangular hyperbola, means there is no not such significant change when the price falls from P2 to P3. Here you can see P2 to P1. Here you can see same proportionate change, that is quantity demanded also moves from M2 to M1. It's also 30%. So next is relative inelastic demand curve. So price is in the y-axis, and here it's a percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the change in the price. So you can see that it's relatively steeping downwards, and when the price moves downwards from P2 to P1, the percentage change in price is 50%, and quantity demanded increases to from M1 to M2 at 20% change only. So you can see that here its price is fast changing, and down it's a small change. So next is perfectly inelastic demand or inelastic demand. We can say that for any change in price, look at the demand curve, it is vertical steeper. So it's and parallel to y-axis. Even though price falls the from P0 to P2 to P1, and the quantity demanded remains unchanged at M. So here demand remains unchanged at M, and here is there is no showing any responsive change in demand according to change in price.